Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charlotte Journey. I'm the Vice Commander for Base in Lindsay, Verona American Region Post 385. We want to welcome you to our Veterans Day event. And also, please silence your phones. If you look over here, we have the Missing Comrade table. The Missing Comrade table is a symbolic memorial set up to honor and remember U.S. military service members who are prisoners of war, missing in action, or have died in service. Each item on the table has a specific meaning. The white tablecloth symbolizes the purity of their intentions when they answer the call. The empty chair represents that these individuals are not present and their seat remains vacant. The vase with a single red rose reminds us of the lives of the missing and their loved ones who are waiting and praying for their return. The candle is lit to symbolize the unconquerable spirit and to act as a beacon for their return. The inverted wine glass indicates they cannot be toasting with us today. The slice of lemon represents their bitter fate and suffering in captivity. The pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of the families who long for answers. The red ribbon represents the continued determination to account for the missing. Today, we're going to, Secretary Bond is going to speak with us, and after that we will have lunch, and then lunch will be followed by the Quilts of Valor ceremony. Also, I want to recognize that with Secretary Bond today is Jeremy Otto, the department's Veterans Program Specialist, who is available to provide information and answer questions on services and the benefits available to veterans. So I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the Verona Senior Center with a certificate of appreciation in recognition of your support on Veterans Day 2025. Together, we honor all those who have served this nation in uniform. Your dedication, commitment, and exemplary service to our veterans and community have set a remarkable standard. Thank you for your tireless efforts and unwavering support. Together, we strengthen the bonds of camaraderie and honor those who have served this great nation. And it's under the signature of Chad Churchill, our Post 385 commander, and also my name as well. And Heather is going to accept on behalf of the Verona Senior Center. Now I would like to introduce our guest speaker. I am pleased to introduce Wisconsin Department of Veteran Affairs Secretary James Bond. He is a proud Marine veteran with over 3 decades of service to his country, the state of Wisconsin, and to fellow veterans. He joined WDVA in 2010, most recently serving as Deputy Secretary before his appointment as Secretary of WDVA by Governor Tony Evers on January 9, 2023. Before joining WDVA, he served in several professional and leadership roles at the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development. Secretary Bond attained his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees from the University of Wisconsin-Madison after serving on active duty in the United States Marine Corps from 1983 through 1988, with assignments at home and abroad. Welcome, Secretary Bond.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's an honor to be here representing the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs. It's also an honor to have this opportunity to be an advocate for Wisconsin veterans, and truly an honor to be surrounded by so many people here who care so deeply about veterans here in Wisconsin. I'm going to start off with a few thank yous. The first, to the Verona Mason Lindsay American Legion Post 385 and the Verona Senior Center for reaching out and inviting me to join you today. Thank you to my fellow veterans and to their families for your service and your sacrifices, and to everyone else here, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and celebrate Veterans Day with us. As I was preparing my remarks for today, I thought of beginning by saying how honored I am that I'm able to join and observe Veterans Day. And then I started thinking about the phrase, observe Veterans Day. And somehow it just didn't seem right. We don't just observe Veterans Day, we celebrate it. We recognize the millions of men and women who have proudly worn the uniform of our nation's armed forces and who have defended our American ideas. We celebrate their commitment, their sacrifice, their service. We celebrate by saying thank you. We celebrate by showing respect. We celebrate because their sacrifice and service has made us free. I think it's important to acknowledge the history of this day. Originally known as Armistice Day, its genesis dated back to 1919, establishing as a way of commemorating the end of World War I and to honor the millions of soldiers who fought in that conflict. And like our democracy, which has changed and grown over the years, Armistice Day became Veterans Day. In 1954, the focus expanded as a way of honoring all veterans who have served our country over the generations. The ability to adapt, to change and grow is essential to success. It's been a key strength of the American experience in democracy. Yesterday, we celebrated 250th birthday of the United States Marine. In October, we marked 250 years since the founding of the U.S. Navy. And back in June, we celebrated the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. And next, our country will commemorate America's 250th birthday on July 4th. These anniversaries, big and small, remind us that our nation's story has always been built on the service and sacrifices of its veterans. And for many, the sense of duty continues long after they leave military, through leadership, volunteerism, and contributions to their communities. Yet civilian life can bring new challenges. Some veterans face homelessness, unemployment, or mental health struggles. Others continue to fight unseen battles with trauma and loss. And at the Wisconsin Department of Veterans Affairs, we work every day to ensure veterans have the support that they need and deserve. Through our Veterans Outreach and Recovery Program, known as VORP, our 11 outreach coordinators serve all 72 counties, connecting at-risk veterans with local and regional resources to help them not only live well, but truly thrive. Our coordinators work one-on-one, becoming trusted advocates for the veterans they serve, and those connections change lives. Still, too many veterans lose their life to suicide. One is just too many. That's why, as secretary, one of my priorities has been building strong partnerships across Wisconsin with state, local, and community organizations that provide life-saving resources to those who need them most. Because none of us can do this alone. Our partnership with the Wisconsin American Legion and Auxiliary are vital to that mission. The Legion's Be the One initiative works to prevent veteran suicide by encouraging everyone to take action when they see a veteran in distress. Its aim is to destigmatize mental health care, strengthen peer-to-peer support, and teach communities how to recognize the warning signs. If you know a veteran who is struggling, I encourage you to step up and be the one for them. Each of us has a role to play in ending the tragedy of veteran suicide. The good news is that we know that community-based efforts make a difference because we work together and then lives are saved. We all know the Badger State is one of the best places in the nation for veterans, not because of the strong benefits and services available like the Wisconsin GI Bill, but because of the people and partnerships in communities like Verona that make this state a true home for those who have served. So on this Veterans Day, let us renew our sacred promise to our veterans to honor their service by ensuring that they have the support, the respect, and opportunity they've earned. Let us stand beside them in their transition to civilian life and work together to fulfill our collective obligation to those who have sacrificed for us all. On this Veterans Day and every day, may all who have served know that we are here to serve them too. Thank you.
She equated quilts with comfort and decided that she should start an organization making quilts for veterans to comfort them. Her first quilt was awarded at Walter Reed Medical Center to a young man who was 22 years old and served in Afghanistan and lost a leg. And from that one woman with a dream, Quilts of Valor was formed. We are now over 11,000 volunteer quilters and long armors all across the United States. And from that first quilt that she awarded, through the foundation, over 437,000 quilts have now been awarded all across America, in Germany, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Thank you. We are proud to be part of that group. And we are going to be awarding 11 quilts here today, although actually 9 veterans are going to be in front of you. And for this month alone, at the end of the month, we will have 33 of our quilts awarded to veterans in this area. And we are very proud of that.
Yes.
So the Quilts of Valor mission is to cover service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing quilts of valor, which is what we are here to do today. And we thank Verona Senior Center for inviting us again on Veterans Day to do this. I think this is around our 9th or 10th year doing this at Verona Senior Center. So what I'm going to do is invite the veterans up to sit in a chair, and then we will start the ceremony. So if we could have Ronald Cook, Richard Harrison, Curtis Lawrence, Don Lawrence, Thomas Monroe, Steve Schmeeding, John Volker, James Weiner, and Richard Werla. Come up and sit in the chair with your name on it. Richard Hansen. Richard Hansen. Veterans, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to read a ceremony to you, and then when I am done, I'm going to turn it over to Debbie, and she will call you one by one to come forward and stand in front of the podium. Your quilt will be unfolded and shown while she reads your bio, and then at the end of her reading, they will fold the quilt and put it around your shoulders, representative of the soldier in our founder's dream. Then when you have the quilt wrapped around your shoulders, you can go back and sit in the chair that you're sitting in now. And if you could stay there, unless you, for some reason, you have to leave early, at the end of the ceremony, we would like to have a group picture. That's why we would like you to stay there. Okay? Veterans, the quilt you're about to receive brings you a three-part message from our hearts. First, we honor you for your service to our country. We honor you for leaving all you hold dear and standing in harm's way in the time of crisis, protecting us from the effects of war. Next, our quilters know that freedom is not free. The cost of freedom is the dedication of lives of men and women like you, and this quilt is meant to say thank you for your service. And finally, this quilt is meant to offer you comfort and to remind you that although your family and friends are not with you at all times, you're forever in their hearts and in their thoughts. Our founder, Catherine Roberts, describes the Quilt of Valor as a civilian equivalent of a Purple Heart Award. Our quilts are awarded, not just handed out like a magazine or a video. We cannot sell them, you cannot buy them. The love and gratitude shown in them is actually priceless. This Quilt of Valor unequivocally says thank you for your service, sacrifice, and valor in serving our nation. It is said that the highest award a civilian can bestow upon a veteran is a Quilt of Valor. Veterans, just as you are unique, each quilt here is unique. There is no other quilt exactly like it. Your Quilt of Valor comes from the heart of our local quilters. From the first fabric chosen and cut to the final stitch sewn, the quilter knew that this quilt was being made to honor you, a veteran. Your names have been inscribed on the back of this quilt, so future generations will know what you have done for your country. Our Quilts of Valor have three significant parts. The top layer, with its many colors, shapes, and fabrics, represents the communities and the many individuals in our nation. Each stitch in the quilt represents the love, the gratitude, and sometimes the tears of the maker. The batting is the center of the quilt, its warmth. It represents the hope that this quilt will bring you warmth, comfort, peace, and healing. The backing is the strength. It holds the many pieces of the quilt together. It represents the strength of the Quilt of Valor recipients, strength of their families, strength of our communities, and lastly, strength of our nation. The Quilt of Valor you're about to receive clearly says thank you for your service, sacrifice, and valor in serving our nation. And in so, veterans, on behalf of Quilts of Valor Foundation and a grateful nation, with our deepest appreciation, we thank you for your service for our country with this Quilt of Valor. Thank you, and most importantly, welcome home. There are two veterans that are not able to join us today. We will show their quilt and read their bio anyway, so everybody can see.
Okay, we are going to do Richard Hansen first. If you would please come up here, Richard. Yeah, you go right ahead. This is the quilt that Richard is going to receive. Richard was in the U.S. Army Air Corps from August 1943 to 1945, serving as an Air Corps navigator, B-17 bomber during World War II and the Berlin crisis. Richard then joined and served in the National Guard, the 32nd Division, General Staff and Tank Company Commander from 1950 to 1972. He was activated in 1961 for a year. During this time, Richard was sent to numerous locations such as Florida, New York, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Nebraska, Washington, Colorado, Minnesota, Virginia, Georgia, and Louisiana. Richard received the Army Commendation Medal at Fort Lewis, Washington by Secretary of the Army Cyrus Vance. Richard, thank you and welcome home. You're welcome.
You just turn right around to the front.
Good thinking. Wonderful.
Maybe give you a
Sure.
thank you for your service.
Okay. Thank you very much.
It doesn't have to be said, but I'm 100 years old.
Our next veteran is Ronald Cook. Ronald joined the U.S. Air Force in May 1969, serving until September of 1972. He became a sergeant during the Vietnam War, serving as a medical lab tech. Ronald was directly responsible to set up the bi-weekly blood drives, collecting 100 to 200 pints of blood, which were then sent directly to Vietnam within 48 hours. Ron, thank you and welcome home. Our next veteran is Christopher Davis. He was unable to be here, but I'm going to read his bio and they are going to show you his quilt. After graduating from West Point, Christopher joined the U.S. Army on May 27, 1987. Christopher was deployed numerous times during his 28 years of service, achieving the rank of colonel. Christopher retired October 31st, 2015. Christopher was deployed to Desert Storm, 1990 to 91, where he served as a scout helicopter pilot, flying low into enemy territory to detect enemy movement and locations, and other intelligence designated as targets for the attack helicopter units. He was deployed to Somalia, 1993 to 1994, where he was assigned as a company commander to assist and support the United Nations operations at Mogadishu International Airport during a period of attacks on the airport area and emergencies with UN aircraft. As a Department of Defense acquisition officer, Christopher was responsible for ensuring supplies and services were delivered on time and met performance standards. In 2006, Christopher was deployed to Iraq as a battalion commander for officers on duty throughout the country, assigned to monitor supplies and equipment being delivered in the theater of operations. In 2013, Christopher was in Afghanistan, served as a program manager to monitor supplies and equipment delivered to aerial defense units in the country, including aerial sensors for fixed aircraft, equipment necessary to support and maintain the mission for aerial intelligence, used to track placement of IEDs, and equipment used in support of offensive missions. Following his retirement from the Army, Christopher continued with the Department of Defense as a civilian employee, planning and implementing acquisition policies key to the delivery of equipment and supplies worldwide to the warfighter. Duties during his service was U.S. Army Aviator and Acquisition Officer. Christopher earned many awards during his years of service, including the Legion of Merit, Defense Superior Service Medal, the Bronze Star Medal, awarded twice, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal, awarded 3 times, the Air Medal, awarded twice, including one with Valor, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, awarded twice, the Army Achievement Medal, awarded twice, the Joint Meritorious Unit Award, twice, the Meritorious Unit Commendation, Valorous Unit Award, the Army Superior Unit Award, the National Defense Service Medal, awarded twice, the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, the Southwest Asian Service Medal, 3 Bronze Service Stars, the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, the Iraq Campaign Medal with Campaign Star, the Army Service Ribbon, the Overseas Service Ribbon, awarded twice, United Nations Service Medal, the Kuwait Liberation Medal, Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, the Aviator Badge, the Parachutist Badge, the Air Assault Badge, and the Secretary of Defense ID Badge. So, for Christopher, we thank him and welcome him home. Next, we will have Curtis Lawrence. Curtis served in the U.S. Navy from 1985 to 1981. He was part of Operation Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, where the ship was in the Persian Gulf during the Gulf War. Curtis was a machinist mate, 2nd class, on the USS Arkansas, CGN 41. He operated the machinery to run the reactor and engine room, providing electricity, portable water, and propulsion to ship. Curtis, thank you and welcome home. Next veteran, Don Lawrence. Now, are you two related to each other? Father, son? Don was a staff sergeant in the U.S. Air Force from 1954 to 1965 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Don served as a weather gunner. Don received a Good Conduct Award. Don, we thank you for your service and welcome home.
Can I say a word? My cat's gonna think I'm really classy now. Thank you all.
Thank you. Our next veteran, Thomas Monroe. Thomas joined the U.S. Navy in 1964, serving until 1968. Thomas was on the team that ran the engine room, doing machine maintenance, and kept the engines running. On his last day in the U.S. Navy, Thomas had dressed in his best uniform for his release. His ship had engine problems and couldn't reach the shore, so he was told that if he wanted to get out that day, he needed to change clothes and help get the ship running again. So Thomas changed clothes and helped fix the engine. It worked, and he was able to get out of his original release day, which fell on Friday the 13th. Ever since, Thomas has considered Friday the 13th to be a lucky day. Thomas, thank you for your service and welcome home. Our next veteran is Steve Schmeeding. Steve joined the U.S. Navy on January 10, 1970, as an E-3 seaman and served until January 10th of 1976. Steve was an amphibious truck driver. He served on 3 different ships. Steve was awarded the Vietnam Campaign Ribbon, the Combat Action Ribbon, and the Viet Service Ribbon. Steve, thank you for your service and welcome home. Our next veteran is John Volker. John joined the U.S. Army during the Vietnam era, serving from February 13, 1962 to May 1st of 1969. John was a communications technician. John participated in various community service organizations such as the American Legion, the Optimists, I know for a fact the JCs in Verona, plus various other community activities. He was also a city official. John, thank you for your service and welcome home. Our next veteran is James Warner. James served from December 12, 1957 to September 14, 1960 as a U.S. Army security agency as a private first class. His duty was a Morse intercept operator. James has been involved with community service. He chaired a committee and raised over $100,000 to repair and remodel a local church in northern Wisconsin. James also contributed many hours of effort to raise funds to maintain and remodel a northern Wisconsin Senior Center. James, thank you for your service and welcome home. Our next veteran is Richard Orloff. Richard joined the U.S. Navy from January 16, 1968 through November 8th of 1971 as a E-4 Petty Officer 3rd Class. Richard served aboard the USS Intrepid aircraft carrier as a damage control man and trained sailors outside the unit on fire suppression and safety procedures during the Vietnam era. Richard was awarded the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal with 2 Bronze Stars, the RVN Armed Forces Meritorious Unit Citation, the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Navy Unit Commendation Ribbon. His ship, the Intrepid, is now a museum in New York City. Richard was able to visit the ship along with his wife and son and share memories of his time aboard. Richard has done community service by delivering Meals on Wheels in Verona for many years. Richard, thank you for your service and welcome home. Our last veteran, Clark Weidman, was presented his quilt earlier because he had to leave early to go to work as a crossing guard. And so that's an important job for him to not miss that. I will read you his bio, and he already has his quilt. Clark served in the U.S. Marine Corps as a sergeant from September 1955 to September 1959, plus 2 years active reserve. His service time was after the Korea War and before Vietnam. Clark says his duties were keeping records of Air Wings activities and typical sergeant responsibilities. Clark says he will be happy to talk about the story behind how he got the nickname Red Dog. He has volunteered at the Steve Stricker Golf Tournament for the last 5 years. So we thanked Clark for his service and welcomed him home. And Bev will have a few words to say in closing.
Thank you, Debbie. Christopher Davis' quilt is going to be taken by his daughter, and she's going to present it to him. And I am giving her the words of the ceremony and asking you to read them to him before you present him the quilt. Thank you. So veterans, in closing, your quilt is washed and ready for use, and we hope that you use it on cold days, whatever, sitting in your chair watching the Packers play or lose, or whatever. Or whatever you like to watch on TV or read a book, whenever you need something to warm you. And know that it is a hug of gratitude from all of us. And so one last time, we thank you, veterans, and all the veterans here for your service. We thank you, and most importantly, we like to say, welcome home.